Hey guys. Ooh, look at me. It's Monday. You guys, I was so led to um make a video and I'm not going to say the retrogrades were on me, okay? But it's a I don't, listen. Let me tell you something. um Ooh, let me just show you really quickly. I was talking about this on my Facebook page, but look, because I'm this person, you guys, and I can just show you so many examples, okay? Because I love Gaia and the spirit of the earth, and we commune together, and she is me and I am her. You know what I'm saying? And she gives me gifts, okay? And it is uncanny. And if you know the word witch is triggering to some people, and it sure does get all its connotations. But okay, if you practice that nature is your church and it's a harmonious union, and you and the spirit of Gaia, if you commune with spirit is saying the sentience of all living things, right? You get it? You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Okay, maybe you get it, right? But listen, if you're around me in real time, you will know this, like, regardless of what's going on. And maybe spirit of my ancestors just know that I will cherish beautiful, precious things, and I'll always honor them. I would, me and this camera stand get into it with each other all the time, and yet my ancestors just saying, how many times we told you to invest in a new camera stand? You're supposed to get a light and a microphone. Look, it's for another time, okay? But they're getting on me right now. I would take the camera off and show you my Bridget statue, and just how I honor her with literally like everything, all these things that I get on in my, I would say, grid work with Gaia, that goes into oils and candles, all these things, right? It's like I tithe. I don't want to use that word. Every person who has liberated themselves from dogma and religion just said, ew, they clicked out. No, I'm just playing. I give Bridget like a certain percent. I just wish you could see like all these feathers and all this stuff, just everything over here honoring Bridget. And she loves it. She's vibing. But listen, can we just take a small moment to appreciate this beetle? If you know anything about beetles, it's totally hollowed out. It's dried. You guys are like, oh my God, what the fuck? No, it's fine. Okay, it's dry and everything. But just look at that. It's like this gray, light blue powder. It's almost got a turquoise hue. It's not doing it justice because I don't have the window open. There's a lot of lawn and gardening work going on outside. But it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You know what? When you choose your perspective and you look for synchronicity and you look for magic, your higher self will talk to you through the breadcrumbs, so to speak. And I love special things like this because it's me to me. My higher self, my team, and my guides talking to me. Like, for example, I won't go into it's my own personal work, but I was working with my Egyptian oracle and tarot, and I was really channeling for myself, for my guides, this beautiful deep message. From a certain deity, and it had to do with, if you're familiar with Nephthys, and anyway, it was this whole thing, right? And I was just having this whole moment. Ooh, I was communing. We were vibing at the altar. I was writing in my journal, right? And then I just saw this amazing, and here's what's interesting too. I guess it's going to be a side story. Y'all like, when is it not? Look, hush. Okay, storytelling is a spiritual art form. Just Spirit said, just ask, the rabbis and the gurus. We're going to tell you a story. But listen, here's what's beautiful is I found this, I can't remember the name of the beetle now. I want to say it has a very interesting name. It's like a click beetle or something. But I have a gym that I am always, because I'm always at a gym somewhere anyway, but I do like about 20 minutes or so, I commune with nature. I take my shoes off. The people in the gym are probably like, who is she anyway with her tattoos and her, is she picking up another beetle outside? Listen, Everything's a message, right? No, let me focus. So like this was weeks ago, and I had saw this amazing beetle. He has like a gray back, and he has these very specific 2 black spots. He look like eyes. And I was so fascinated. I'd never seen a beetle like that before. And when I walked up on him, so he's supposed to like jump. He is a click beetle, I think, anyway, because I like to research if I see something and I don't know what it is. Like I'll go and research about it, right? So anyway, I was reading about this beetle, and I didn't know about it in the beginning, but apparently I don't think he was very well, and was stranded, and I was so afraid that if I left him there, I went to pick him up and scare the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie, because like back in the day, I used to really fear bugs, but I have a different relationship with nature right now. Y'all don't put no snake on me now. I don't know. That's still going to test me. She's like, you got snakes tatted all on you. Okay, that's different. But let me focus. I've come a long way with spiders as well. But look, so I'll go up on this beetle, you know, in my spirit and in honoring the sentience of life and all these things, right? I'm like, I want to move this beetle off the path because now I realize he's not dead. He was stuck on his back. You could kind of tell, you know, he really didn't have the energy to, maybe there's a big beetle message, you know, for someone. Check out Scarab Beetle Energy and read up on that. And Spirit may be giving you a message by hearing this story today. But I don't know why ancestors are so funny. They're like, if you feel like you're rolling piles of dung shit around, the beetle has come to bring you a message of strength and resilience. But listen. So me and the click beetle, as I learned that it was called, we did our thing, you know. I was like, come on, dude. He didn't want me to pick him up, obviously. He was like, whoa, human, what the hell? And so I get a stick, you know, we do our thing. I get him to rest on the stick, and I take him off to, like, you know, a safer place. I kind of help him get flipped over, poured out a little water for him. Anyway, I don't know what the beetle needed. So part of me was like, oh man, I didn't realize he was still alive. Right? And so look at this juicy carnelian palmstone. Again, the light's not doing it no kind of justice. But so I remembered that beetle, and I was just like, golly, that was so beautiful, you know, but I'm obviously didn't keep it. You know, he's going to go on about his beetle life. RIP if he didn't make it, but I hope he is living his best little beetle life now. So it was just super special that I came upon this other beetle weeks later, you know, so this is a double sign and reinforcement of the beetle spirit, which now I'm thinking, child, all these planets in retrograde, the beetle comes with an appropriate message, correct? But yeah, it made the gift even more super special. And I was really excited to find it. Now I'm thinking, like, because I have to show you guys, and if you know, you know, like if you know me in real time, for example, and I'll never I'm very picky about what I'm given, and it needs to be a certain resonance or a message or in a certain synchronistic. It's not like I just go looking for these things. I truly don't. That's why I'm saying, if you knew me, people are like, how does this always happen to you? So what are some other examples of how I was working with the bee and I was creating something? Let me just show you. And I'm very picky too. It's got to be very well preserved. And sometimes I'll make spirit animal jars for my own self, or whatever the case may be. What's another example? I really cherish this dragonfly because it's in damn near perfect condition, you guys. That's amazing. Just like that, I found it all dried out too. Actually, there's, look at this, a wing. I want to say, ooh, well, it looks pretty like that, doesn't it? Look, I think this is probably from a cicada. I do have, and now if I see cicada shells, I will keep those. I have a certain practice that I do with them. But anyways, just these beautiful things. What else recently? Now that I think of it, y'all, I'm not going to show you everything because y'all are going to be like, what the hell is going on over there? But this whole message was coming through last week with the grasshoppers, and it was so synchronistic. I was literally seeing them everywhere. It was wild. And then I came across a almost perfect, huge grasshopper. It was, wow, I've never even seen a grasshopper like it before. and I was researching it. It was some kind of like, it had the Egyptian name in the description of it. May have been a cricket, not a grasshopper. But anyway, a side little, mini anecdote session with me about when you choose your perspective, you see synchronicities, you're looking for magic, you are following kind of like a trail of breadcrumbs. It's like I'm the author of my own story, and this is the power that we have, right? So I just kind of had to nerd out with you guys a little bit and say, OMG, look at my beetle. So hopefully, and this is me like in real life, you guys. I'll be like, this butterfly wing, right? I made like these transformation and rebirth candles one time, and I had a lot of like cicadas that had come around me in a certain area, and so I could very carefully, like, because they shed their exoskeleton or whatever, so you have all these cicada exoskeletons. Shout out if you grew up in an area, especially in the southeast, where the cicadas just scream the entire summer, and people are like, how do you live with this? And you're like, how do you not live with cicada screams, right? It's relatable. But yeah, I made like these batches of candles with that featured, there's kind of like transformation and rebirth, death type of energy, but they featured cicada wings, and they were really fucking super awesome. So look at us. Okay, Virgo season, Virgo energy came through. And remember, I was telling you last Monday, I was like, I would love to check in with you guys every Monday, but my crazy Aquarian ruled harebrain mad scientist self, all the gemstones are just singing at the altar today. I just want to touch all of them. But how are you guys doing? Just checking in. It's Monday. Happy Monday. Today is August 28th. We are still in Virgo season. And we, are we at the point where we have 7 planets in retrograde? I think at this point, if I counted correctly, it's 6. But I'm not sure. And you guys, look, we are going to come up on our full moon on the 30th. We're going to have a full moon in Pisces. And it's kind of an interesting preparation because yesterday we had Sun in Virgo opposition to Saturn in Pisces. So, it's like getting the details all in check, and we're about to go back and check in with Big Daddy, Lord of Karma and Time, Gatekeeper Saturn, who has, remember in the spring we were talking about Saturn going into Pisces. Saturn will remain there for a while. Was really this big energy of like, hey, we're getting ready to traverse some timelines. We're setting you up to prepare for the energetic upgrades, downloads, evolution, essentially through all these light codes we're going to blast you with through the spring and the summer. And I talk about those a lot in other collective videos. And, Saturn's a very like, sit down with your paternal or authoritative figures, your coach, your life coach, your ancestors vibes, right? Saying, we're looking over the paperwork of your inheritance together. Saturn is very much about maturity. What have you matured into being able to take ownership of in a sustainable way? I know that there were videos in the spring where we kind of talked a lot about that Saturn going into Pisces energy. So we will have a full moon in Pisces in 2 days. And then again, this was yesterday. I don't remember the exact time, but we're probably still in the wake of this Sun in Virgo opposes Saturn in Pisces energy. And it's very much like, again, we're sitting down at the table with a lot of planets in retrograde. And I was going to say, let's just take a side note. I was going to write about this and share it today on social media, but I haven't gotten to that yet. Listen, we have a lot of planets in retrograde annually, around this time. Now, I will say 7 is a good bit. I can't remember because I don't have it in front of me, but there's X amount of planets that will always be in retrograde annually. And it's good for us. It is a very good thing as we get ready to get into the second leg of the harvest season, going into Virgo, going into September. On the wheel of the year, we have Mabon, which is like, I want to say, if you're an exact dates person and you're not marking it by the actual movements of the sun, the equinox and all these things, right? It's like around the 21st, 22nd. Technically, a fall is officially begun. This is the second season of harvest. And so it's good, because it's kind of like you sit down and you have a review. I talked about this in the last collective video, and I was very much talking about, it's like going back into class for the fall, reviewing what you've already learned when you graduated after the spring equinox and after the eclipse portal. And we had that Aries, and then we had that Scorpio. We had all that, the rare hybrid eclipse, and then we had the full moon in Scorpio, all this, right? And so it's like Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces comes back and says, so check this out, have you been feeling the light? Have you been feeling, Mercury is retrograding. Mercury is our messenger, our connection to the crown. It is our crown chakra. It is our perspective of reality. Remember last video we were talking about Mercury is like scanning sacred geometry around your body, dispersing all these light packages that are unpacking in your limbic system is what I mean to say, and all these different things. We were saying the light is being dispersed through your body. The energy upgrades are being it's kind of like an energy scan to bring this stuff down into the body. Virgo is the ever dutiful secretary energy who wants to tighten up the loose ends, who wants to clean up, who wants to organize. Okay, we've called all this in. We have experienced, remember when Saturn moved into Pisces, we talked about it's like the lawyers, the attorneys, the ancestors saying, you are ready to awaken to your inheritance. Now we've been through the spring equinox. We've been through the summer. We've been through the portals. We've been through the high holy days of August and Leo season and Lionsgate portal. And really the peak and the max of Lionsgate portal was really not that long ago, because remember, we're marking it by how the sun moves and not just an 8/8 portal. And I'm not saying that that's not significant. I'm just saying that wasn't the peak of the energy. That's just a numerological date, So we've had all these. We've had huge. There's really not a better word for downloads. We've received the literal light, the sun, the soul, SOL. We've taken this all into our energetic bodies, and Sun and Virgo meets in opposition of Saturn and Pisces. It's like the ancestors are calling and they're saying, let's sit down. We've got a lot of planets in retrograde. We're going to go, right? We're going to slow down. Let's review the details. Let's talk. Let's go over some of these lessons. Because we see now that you remember we were talking about getting the keys to drive a car. And then we were talking about how Pluto's in retrograde, soon to be moving back into Aquarius, Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And we were talking about how we were going to have to spend some time blasting out beyond the veil, that we're talking about on into October, on into December, really on into the completion of this calendrical, Gregorian calendar year. We are still in this energy of saying you're learning about the vehicle. You have the keys, but it's kind of like you got to take so many courses. We need to make sure that you understand that you've integrated, and then you're going to get ready to drive. And so Virgo is kind of like that teacher who's kind of, Virgo season. This is like the secretary sitting beside Saturn energy, saying, Big Daddy Saturn is kind of saying, okay, let's review, let's talk about, because they've received their inheritance, what has been done, what has been learned. And then today, Uranus goes into retrograde. Uranus is in Taurus. And so Uranus is really like, is really like our higher mind. It's funny, we're talking about Saturn and Pisces. We're talking about Saturn's kind of like a gatekeeper energy. And again, for review, that's because classically with your naked eye, that was really kind of the last planet that you could physically see. And so when we get beyond the gatekeeper energy, right, of Saturn, you're in the outer planet realms, you know, and you have Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which is really like your higher mind, your higher heart, and your higher access to like higher dimensions of power. And all of the higher powers, so to speak, right? The higher powers are also now in retrograde. So it's really a slowdown on all accounts. And we are really examining, you know, because you're going to see a lot of like pop memes, you're going to see a lot of posts, and some of it, yes, there's a little bit of sensationalizing and everything, but it is a time to slow down. It's a time for divine ancestral intervention. It's a time for your higher divine self, for you to take stock. You know, again, imagine Saturn sitting at the table in representation for all of your ancestral line, be it galactic or be it in this physical realm, right? All your ancestors. And that Virgo energy is sitting like a dutiful secretary saying, what do we need to review? What do we need to clean up? Do we have some spots of weakness here? Because, you know, then when we shift from Virgo into Libra, that is like becomes more about kind of going back into relationships in a more balanced and harmonious way and stuff like that. So listen, words are spelling. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like if you go around sensationalizing, oh, you know, so many planets are in retrograde. Okay, first of all, fact check yourself for me, please, and take a second to understand that this cycle happens every single year. Okay, I think we do have like one or two extra more than we would normally have, but that is just more divine wisdom. That is just more divine intercession. You know, you already know, if you've been here listening with me, that I'm going to tell you that it's like, it is a GPS. This is our 2023. This is the year of the Chariot. This is also a tower year. And things are divinely orchestrated as you have contracted with your higher self and your ancestral team for your best and highest good, for your growth and evolution, that you are learning how to drive your Merkaba, your chariot, right? Okay, and so we come back into review during this time, and we allow our ancestors, we allow our team and higher self, we allow our spirit team and guides, you know, and truly you are all of that. You're not disconnected from it. But, you know, sometimes we have intercession on our behalf because we can't see at all times. You know, I'm not talking about meditation and certain spiritual experiences, but we're not designed to live in that mode all the time. We can't always see that panoramic view, right? So we sit down and it's so funny because now I'm remembering that I had a dream. I don't really like to share a lot of my dreams because that's my personal space, but I'll say that it had to do with going back and being in a classroom setting. And I won't elaborate more, but it's too funny now that I'm kind of connecting the dots. But I was back in class, and the Virgo season is very much a back in class energy. Because, you know, I am also going to tell you that because look, Venus is still in Leo in retrograde, I want to say until like the first or second week of September. So Venus is also still in retrograde. The best way for us to review the work that we have been doing within the self is in relationship to other people. You know, because when it's just you with you, to a certain degree, you can control a lot of elements, right? And so what we'll see happen a lot of times with so many things in retrograde is that you divinely orchestrated with your higher team of selves, your monadic higher team of selves, your guides, your spirit ancestors, right? They're going to say, we're going to do some pop quiz review. Okay, so what happens if she get that DM at 2 a.m.? Right? What happens if that family member shows up with that drama? And do you know what I mean? It's a testing of how have you learned the lessons. Because while you are driving, you need to be able to really take care of, Spirit is saying, like the precious cargo, the as you return to yourself and sit more in a self-actualized space, in a space of self-awareness, you understand your light, your spirit, your soul, all this energy, all of these things, you're returning back to your divine sovereignty. This is your inheritance, right? Okay, that is the precursor of your understanding before you inherit, like, oh, I thought I was getting a bunch of money. No, okay, the truest riches is the energetic things you inherit first, right? But if you're driving, if you've got the keys, you're in the vessel, you can go anywhere. You are divine, you are sovereign, you are free. You need to be able to be responsible with that. And you need to be able to make choices that are wise, that are emotionally mature, that are sustainable, right? Again, Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces. Because you remember in Saturn and Pisces, I was giving this whole analogy, and I think I pulled the Fool because I remember it. And it was like the Fool was quantum timeline jumping, but he was kind of suspended, right? He was kind of frozen a little bit, because when this type of shift happens to you, it's like you have to catch up to yourself in real time to be able to own, or you could say to be able to vibrate energetically at the right frequency to match that jump in the quantum. I don't want to get too far out there with you guys, but it was this whole image of like your ancestors showing you that let's say in levels, right? You are capable of level 25, but you're on 20 right now. And then you're going to learn how to kind of swim up. You remember we were given this whole analogy, and it was like you swim and you get your head above water, but you got to get a little bit stronger, because then you're going to dip back down, and maybe you're hovering more between like 20 and 21, and then you're getting a steady pace, and then you're like, oh, I'm holding it. I'm doing laps. You remember when you were learning how to swim and you had a doggy paddle first? I'm doggy paddling at level 22. You know what I'm saying? And then in your energetic work and your healing and your shadow work and your self-awareness, and your ability, let's say even in Leo season, to then return to a place where you're saying, hey, you know what? Oh shit, okay. I'm feeling myself. I feel my heart chakra open up. I'm resonating in joy. I'm celebrating in creation. I'm not just a manifester. I'm actually a divine creator, because what I create comes from me. I don't even have to call it to myself. I vibrate and then I'm there, right? And then you're like, oh man, are we on step 25? You know what I mean? And then you're in this beautiful opening of the celebration of the first harvest, and you're looking around and the sun is high, and you're in these high holy days, and you're receiving messages. We have the Sirius star energy and all these things that are happening in August, right? We've talked about those. And you're like, I'm at 25. Have I been swimming? Your ancestors. It's like when you ride a bike and you turn around and you realize you've been pedaling the bike. You're like, dude, looking behind you, you're just like, I've been pedaling at this level for a minute. Okay. Right? So then in Virgo season, with lots of planets retrograde, right? Venus still retrograde in Leo. We are still understanding the importance of the self-worth, Spirit is saying, that is inside of us, sets the tone for everything that we experience outside of us, that then confirms back what we are, what am I saying, vibrating about what we're worthy of, right? Mercury retrograde. Sometimes Mercury's a fast mover. It kind of feels, it's that fast. It's very quicksilver. Again, crown chakra, mind, the mental cognitive system, your perception of reality. Mercury retrograde, I feel like sometimes feels like it moves a little quicker. You'll be surprised in another week or so, Mercury retrograde will actually already be, or maybe 2 weeks. It moves more quickly. But Mercury is in retrograde in Virgo. And then you know what? I'm not going to lie. I did not sit down with a whole list of every planet in retrograde to review those. I may actually do that in a separate video, and it just be like going through the energy of each retrograde. You know, what do I need to glean from this? But I do also want to take a second to remind you, because I think sometimes we don't dwell on these as much, is that, you know, we have the slow movers, I like to call them, in retro. Oh yeah, Jupiter. Jupiter went in retrograde. Jupiter annually, again, it retrogrades every time this year, but Jupiter is also retrograding, which is still in Taurus until like May of next year, helping us kind of understand that we've had a lot of expansion. We've grown in a lot of wisdom, right? And what we value in Taurus, right? And we've learned how to maybe bring some of that down and embody it. How do I want my life to look different now? What do I want to choose to expand upon? So we're kind of getting a breather. Because, you know, it's kind of like Jupiter and Taurus, and then we have all these Leo things going on in Leo season. It's kind of like expand, 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 you know, blessings, abundance. Woo! You kind of almost get this like, all right, you know, kind of blowing the cap off the top here. Can we... So it's good that Jupiter also retrogrades, you know, so we can come back down, settle down a bit. Again, Virgo, the dutiful secretary friend, saying, let's take notes, okay? What did we like? What did maybe that lovely Jupiter finger touch on, that maybe we felt like we don't want to expand any more of that? We've learned a lot about our values through that. Do you know what I mean? And so we have these lessons on what we loved and we did well. But this is the nature of harvest season. We also look at plants. Remember, we talked about the apple tree, and we understand what we didn't maybe do well, what we maybe even watered, and we're like, I worked my hardest just on that one, like I did everything else. And again, divine intervention, spirit will, and your ancestors, your higher self will say, there's a reason that did not bear fruit. Or maybe it bared some fruit and it had worms, and you better be glad we didn't let you harvest those apples. We're going to let those go into the soil in the season of death. They'll nourish the soil for next time, right? So it is good that Jupiter is also going in retrograde in Taurus, because it's that energy of let's sit down and review our notes, right? You guys, I think I've made this reference before too. You know how you would have the teacher, y'all know what I'm talking about, don't let me date myself. You have this teacher and you would be reviewing for a big test. I always remember this in U.S. history, but he loved to reward a good note taker. And would be like, highlight the blank number 7. You guys, again, repeat number 7. What's the answer to number 7? So you knew if like you were going back and highlighting these, especially if you missed them, oh, that's an important one on the test, right? So this is the energy of how Virgo season is very helpful for us to do this. And I will say, especially if you don't really naturally have a lot of very grounding earth energy in your natal chart, Virgo season can be great. It can be uncomfortable. Hello, shout out. I have a lot of fire and a lot of air. I've got one super huge earth placement in a really great place. It's like if you only had one earth and you got it where I got it, you'd be thankful. But I know some of us don't have a lot of earth naturally. And so a season like Taurus or a season like Virgo is very great for us to take advantage of, asking our ancestors, our higher selves, and our team in spirit, you know, of the highest and best good. Hey, get me all together with this Virgo energy. Sit me down with a notepad. Let me take notes. What is not working? What do I need to tweak about the schedule? I'll say this as an aside, though, if you are anything like me in Virgo season, I really feel, and if you flow with the zodiac wheel and the wheel of the year enough, you kind of feel it. This is a great time to declutter. I think I shared a meme somewhere at some point yesterday or today talking about, what is it, Marie Kondo, your life. That's what Virgo season feels like, somebody had said, and it's accurate. Do you need to clean up your sacred space? Really, any way that you can let this Virgo energy assist you, especially with so many planets in retrograde. Remember, Neptune is in retrograde in Pisces. We're kind of embracing the void to reconnect with our divine source. Not really reconnect, because mind you, you're not separate from divine source. You are that. I am that I am. You are the I am. You know what I'm saying? But we take time to reconnect to that. Also, Pluto in retrograde in between Capricorn and Aquarius is very good. We've talked about kind of the Phoenix rising energy and how we need to embrace the things that are in kind of getting ready to decay into the death cycles, and understand what those lessons are teaching us about what has been stealing our power. So I think bringing up and re-reflecting on Neptune retrograde, Pluto retrograde, and I did a round of those readings where I pulled people's Neptune and Pluto placements. Those are like big generational placements. Those are very insightful readings. But Virgo energy is great because when you pair that with those two retrogrades, what you're doing is eliminating clutter. Do you need to donate clothes? Do you need to do some... Look, a Virgo will be like, girl, I am in here scrubbing the tile in the bathroom. You know what I mean? I love to sabbatically, like a few times a year, I'll take everything off the altar and just wipe it completely down and do certain oils, do certain salt spray. It's that energy. Do you need to clean out the clutter? Clean out the clutter. Let it go. Release. Because when we do that, it's a big lesson I learned about being in an RV full time for like almost a whole entire year. Granted, I still have cycles in the RV, but I'm saying full time all the time. You learn about how much energy gets corded and attached to holding on to things. And the less that you have cluttered in your life, the more that you, not only the more that you value what you do have in very profound ways, you have so much gratitude for the smallest things. You also have so much energy that is returned to your spirit. Spirit is saying return to your energetic body, return to your emotional body, just return. You call so much energy and power back to yourself because there is less and less need for the clutter, less and less need for the things, less and less things. Because if you think about energetic attachments, now I have to clean more. Well, now I have to make space for more. So maybe you have to buy more to organize more. And look, get full on with, hey, if you're a Virgo and Earth sign and you already have a tendency to get real grounded and organizing and, doing these things, more power to you. But Virgo season is wonderful for eliminating, Spirit is saying, energetic clutter, emotional clutter, attachment to things type of clutter. So donate. So be charitable, clean out, organize, minimalize. Do you know what I mean? It's a very effective ritual for letting the universe know that you are letting go of attachments, but also that you're ready to embrace, new cycles when it's time to rebirth new things, right? So it's another thing that I love. And it kind of always hits me. It hits me heavily in Virgo season for sure. But I really think that touches note on a lot of different aspects that are going on to open up this week. I do want to do a separate full moon video, so I don't want to get too much into the full moon in Pisces. It is going to be our blue moon. There's a couple different ways that you can have a blue moon. But this one is what we would call a calendrical blue moon, which means we have in the Gregorian calendar, right? We have 2 full moon cycles. So we open August in this lunation with a full moon, and we're going to close it with a full moon. So I think it is also a super moon. So it's going to be a great, bright, powerful, beautiful is a water sign full moon, so it's in the feels. But Pisces I always liken to, it's like an iridescent mermaid who just flitters through the astral and the timelines. You kind of think of her going up into the moonlight above the ocean and down back into the deep again, but she's always shining. It's almost like this pearlesque, like iridescent. And now Spirit is showing me this image of like some sort of, you guys, I don't know, like now I need to flip through the deck because I have my dragon deck right here. This is the most recent card that I pulled out. That was beautiful. But it's like a pearlesque dragon, like jumping in and out of the water. I'm flipping through the decks when I'm thinking about this full moon and Pisces energy. I'm trying to see like if something fits what Spirit is showing me in my, oh yes. So this, And now we're going to have to read it. Look, it's even like water below her. She's like posted on a mountain, maybe on an island, and the full moon. Yeah, that's perfect. It's exactly kind of what I'm seeing, but it's more like going in and out of the water. But that's definitely the vibration of the Pisces full moon. Oh my gosh, and we're already at 39 minutes. Because I spent, I had to show you all my beetle, but that's all right. Because everything's a message. Now I wish, I've got the Sacred Medicine cards, but I don't know if that book would have the beetle. I'd love to read about the beetle. But anyway, look, let's read about this Luna dragon, you guys. I was going to pull some tarot cards, but Spirit is saying, let's read about, where's she at though? Let's find her. And y'all know I'm going to struggle. Hold on, I'm sorry. Is this it? Yes. All right. And again, this is Caroline Mitchell, Dragon Path. I've really been vibing and working with dragon energy this year. So let's read about Luna. Embrace and accept what you really feel. As her name suggests, Luna is connected to our moon and her phases. She's a mother figure, and due to her watery nature, she connects to emotions, creativity, and of course, water. Her arrival is a prompt to fully feel your emotions, particularly if you've been avoiding their messages. She urges you to examine them, own them, and release what you no longer need. She says, if you've been feeling overwhelmed, it is fine to ask for help. This is not a weakness, but an acknowledgement that you've been strong for too long on your own. A little self-care wouldn't go amiss either. You can only, Spirit is pausing me here to say self-care, we need to also remember though, is sometimes doing those Virgo type things. It is self-care for me to know that I need to clean out the closet and make space. It is self-care for me to know that I think some deep cleaning needs to be done to get some of the stagnant energy out of the corners of the home, to, they say the wisest witch of the woods would sweep her porch, and the all-powerful wizard came and sought her out because she was talked about in all of the land, and he asked her, how do you have your power? And she would just keep sweeping her porch, and it took him a long time to kind of understand the cycles of the wisdom behind her sweeping her porch every day, right? So you're just bringing this to me, to my mind. Let me continue though. A little self-care wouldn't go amiss either. You can only fully be who you want to be once you embrace and accept what you really feel. And sometimes, again, I'm pausing, sometimes it's cathartic. It is a ritual to clean, release, and let go. And some of those emotions that we want to purge, some of the things that want to come up and out, that are maybe, taking up space in our emotional body that are ready to go, cleaning, decluttering, all of these things that we may naturally feel an inclination to do can be a helpful ritual with that, right? You can only be who you fully are once you embrace and accept what you really feel. Only then can you truly transform. She urges us to follow our creativity and revisit latent talents, whether they are musical, written, in the field of performing, and so on. She tells me these activities are good for the soul. You can lose yourself in the moment and become engrossed in a piece of work and embrace the bliss that accompanies such activities. I really think that this energy is more applicable to the full moon, but Spirit's saying read it, so there definitely may be a message there for someone. Dang, I want to read about the beetle. You know what, guys? I'm going to look in my medicine cards book, and if I have an excerpt about beetle, animal spirit medicine, I'll definitely read it for you guys, maybe in a short or something. But I hope you're doing well out there. Happy Monday. Don't let nobody talking all up about some, something in Gatorade and retrograde. Don't, you know what? Reflect in wisdom. Let your ancestors and your team of higher self guide you. But your perspective and what you do with the energy that is, I will say this too. Collectively, you may feel the pull in certain frequencies and vibrations because everyone is saying all of this, oh, these planets in retrograde. But it's your choice every day, what you do with your own perspective. Sets the framework. for your entire day, for that hour of your day, for that week. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all in a matter of what you do with it. But you know what? I think I'm going to close on that note, guys. I look forward to chatting with you later on about the full moon. And yeah, happy Monday to you all. I hope you have a great week. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon, okay?